Hello dear students, myself Darshana Patel from VPMP Polytechnic. My subject is Computer and Network Security, Unit Organizational Security, and topic Biometrics and Password Protection. The objectives of video is to understanding various biometrics techniques and understanding about password protection techniques. The topics to be covered in this video, they are the various biometrics techniques like fingerprint, handprint, retina, voice pattern, signature, writing pattern, keystrokes. Then physical barriers, password protection, password selection strategies, and component of a good password. Now first, biometrics technique. Now what do you mean by the biometric? So biometric security is a security mechanism used to authenticate and provide access to a system based on the automatic and instant verification of an individual's physical characteristics. Now why we use the biometric security system? Because of the fact that each person has a set of unique body characteristics, and that body characteristic can be used for authentication purpose as well as for access control. Biometric system use these unique characteristics of individual for authentication as well as for access control. So we are using biometric security for authentication. Now, as shown in the figure, the biometric system can be categorized in two categories. The first one is based on the physical body characteristics. So most of the biometrics device which are available on the market like retina pattern, iris pattern, fingerprint, handprint, they are properly classified as biometric systems. Whereas the others like keystroke, signature, voice pattern, they can be classified as behavioral systems. So biometric systems, they are examined for authentication purpose. Biometric identification system, it normally works by obtaining unique characteristics from user like a handprint, a retina pattern, etc. The biometric system then compare that to the specimen data stored in the system, and if the copy match, then the users are considered as an authenticated user. Otherwise, the access is not granted to that user and its identification is not proved. Now first technique, fingerprint. Fingerprint biometric technique, it's mostly used in forensic science as well as in various areas of identification for a long time. It's the most popular technique because of the fingerprints of each individuals are unique. Fingerprint biometric system examine the unique characteristics of user's fingerprint and use that information to determine whether or not the user should be allowed to access the resources. Nowadays, various smartphones also have sensors to capture the fingerprints and thus guaranteed that we are the only people who can unlock our phones. The user fingerprint is placed on the scanner surface, then the light flash inside the machine and the reflection is captured by the scanner and it is used for analysis and then verified against the original specimen stored in the system. So in this way, the procedure for the fingerprint is considered and verified. Now the advantages of this system is that the implementation costs are low and the technology has a very good user acceptance, having the short processing delay time and having the small storage as only a particular finger is considered for a sample copy. The disadvantages of this technique, it can make mistake with the dryness or dirty of the finger screen. Then there may be of high chances of finger image degradation by age when the age goes up. It can be of chances of fake fingerprints. Now next, biometrics technique, voice pattern. Voice biometric authentication is the use of the voice pattern to verify the identity of the individual. It is fast becoming a widely deployed form of biometrics authentication And it works by digitizing a profile of person's speech to produce a stored module voice print or template. A person's speech is subject to change depending on the health and emotional state. Matching a voice print requires that the person speak in the normal voice, and that was used when the template was first created at the time of enrollment. So it's a drawback of this kind of technique. When if the person suffers from a physical illness, then the voice sample submitted may be differ from the original one. Other factors also affect in this technique, like background noise, quality of the devices which take the sample. So these are the various factors which affect this technique. Now next technique, Retina Pattern Biometrics System. Everybody has a unique retina vascular pattern. Retina Pattern Biometrics System use an infrared beam to scan your retina. It examines the unique characteristics of user's retina and compare that information with the stored pattern to determine whether the user should be allowed to access or not. These systems are highly reliable. But the drawback of this kind of system is that the users are often worried in using retina scanner because they fear that the retina scanners will blind or injure their eyes. So that's the drawback, one of the drawback of Retina Pattern Biometric System. Next, Handprint Biometric System. As in the case of fingerprint, everybody has unique handprints also. A handprint biometric system, it scans the hand and finger, and then the data is compared with the specimen copy stored for the system. The user is allowed or denied based on the result of this verification technique. Keystroke biometric system. The keystroke biometric system uses a long text input, and that long text input is developed and evaluated for identification and authentication applications. TypeSense kind of software only authentication solution is used to recognize the key rhythm, key pattern, to accurately identify user by the way they type the character through the keyboard. Like this figure says how the particular user are typing the keyboards, the time like hold time, seek time, latency, the time delay between the typing of the keys. So such kind of parameters are evaluated, and based on that the particular template is verified, and according to that it may check the consistency. Now key features of this technique is that no hardware is required, no special scanner or other hardware software devices are installed. Then nothing to carry, no extra devices to carry is required, nothing extra to type at login, and provides a very flexible environment. Next, physical barriers. Barriers are used in the physical security to define the boundary, delay, or prevent access, restrict movement to a particular area. There are two types of barrier, man-made and natural barrier. Man-made structure barriers, they include the fences, walls, doors, gates, parks, entrance, vehicular barriers, and so on. Whereas natural barriers, they include the rocks, trees, water features like rivers, sand, and so on. Barrier must be tested regularly and they maintained regularly. Now next topic, password protection. How to create a strong password. For that, use the following guidelines. Use the different password everywhere. Never repeat the same password. Like here one example is given. Never repeat the same password in all your login. Avoid common password. Don't use the simple password. Don't use the dictionary words. Your password should be minimum of 8 characters. Don't use the name of your relatives, your kids, or your pet, favorite team, or your birth date, anniversary, date of graduation, even the car license number. It's not a strong password. So avoid such kind of common password. How to build a strength to the password? It's a strong password solution. For that, create a strong password, which is a mixing of not only the letters, but the uppercase letter, lowercase letter, and the special characters as well as numbers. And your password length should be more than 8 characters. Minimum 8 character password is there. And the character should be random, not having the particular word. This is one example given, okay, how to make a strong password. Say one example is given like New York. It cannot be used directly, but its reverse can be done. Then adding some letters, uppercase and lowercase letter, digits, special symbols, and then in the fourth step, you see how it's become a strong password and easy to remember also. So these are the this is an example for creating such kind of strong password. Now next, password selection strategies. There are 4 password selection strategies: user education, computer generated password, reactive password checking, and proactive password checking. Now first, user education. User can be told the importance of using hard to guess password and can be provided with the guidelines for selecting strong password. For that, the user's trainings must be arranged, or user have to aware of the importance of password. So for that, the user should be provided with such kind of guidelines. Next, computer generated password. Computer generated password also have problems. If the passwords are quite random in nature, then a user will not be able to remember such kind of password, and user can be write it down, which is not a good habit for writing down a password. So that's a problem within the computer generated password. They are hard to remember. Then next, reactive password checking. The system itself periodically runs its own password cracker to find guessable passwords. The system cancels passwords that are guessed and notifies the user. This kind of password checking strategies, it requires the more resources. So consume resources are there. And there may be a possibility for the hacker to find out such kind of password from the system files or password files. Next, proactive password checking technique. The system checks at the time of the selection if the password is allowable or not. After checking, instead of that, system provides at the time of selection, system provides various guidelines for selecting a strong password. With the guidance from the systems, user can select memorable passwords that are difficult to guess. Now, after that, the next topic, components of a good password. Here, there are the various guidelines are provided to make the password more difficult to guess or to obtain by the intruders. So, these are the various guidelines for making a strong password, and it's known as a component of a good password. First, it should be at least 8 characters long. Means your password must be a minimum of 8 characters. It should include uppercase, lowercase letters, numbers, special characters, or punctuation marks, or the combination of. Means your password is not only a letter, not only a digit, not only a punctuation mark, but the combination of all these mixing characters. It should not contain any dictionary word. Means password should not have a meaningful meaning. It's not our direct dictionary word. It's a random kind of words. It should not contain the user's personal information, such as their name, family member's name, birth date, pet name, phone number, or any other detail that can be easily identified. Because such kind of detail are easily available to hackers to crack the password. So you should not contain such kind of your personal information in password. It should not be the same as the user's login name. Means the login name and passwords are not same. It should not be the default password as supplied by the vendor, such as password, guest, admin, and so on. Means you have to change the default password which is supplied by you to the vendor. Also, don't repeat the same password for all logins. Don't write your password anywhere. Change password periodically. So these are the various guidelines or various components of a good password that you have to remember. Thank you for listening.